And just finally, Laura, we can't go without asking about anti-Semitism. You know, this perhaps has overshadowed the Labour Party this week alone, if not for much longer than that. I mean, let's take, for example, Gateshead. It's got one of the largest Jewish communities outside of London. The Labour voters in that community, you know, should they be feeling uncomfortable? Should they be worried by what they've heard? And is that going to really overshadow the political debate here today?
And it depends what you mean, what they've heard, you know. So I do not want any Jewish brother or sister in this country to feel scared or worried about anything, not least about an aspect of their identity and their ethnicity or religion. I don't want them to be worried either about their jobs. I don't want them to be worried about their future or their future incomes. And I think the Labour Party has done, you know, and my colleague Andy MacDonald said Jenny Formby, the General Secretary, has done more in her tenure as General Secretary in the last 100 years of the Labour Party to tighten up our systems, to make sure they're robust, to make sure targets are affirmed when they tell whoever they tell that they have been a target of anti-Semitism or any other racism. It is right, isn't it, that as a Labour Party who defines itself by equality and to root out racism, you know, thousands of people that come here today will define themselves as anti-racism activists and are members of the Labour Party as well. It is right that we have the best systems, you know, as a political party. That's why we're open to any investigation to look and say, have we got the most robust system? We are open and we are proud to say that that is fine to happen, because we want everyone to feel comfortable and welcome. But what we must do, and what nobody else is talking about, is not just tackle the conditions where anti-Semitism or any other racism can exist in the Labour Party, but in society and the rest of Europe too, because the conditions are ripe at the moment for all kinds of racism in our community. You know, people looking for these simplistic answers to really complex societal conditions. And actually, Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson have not one answer to the housing crisis, to the NHS, to the difficulties that people are experiencing and the exploitation at work. So the Labour Party, you know, has been putting a massive amount of effort into putting its own house in order. There isn't any question about the Islamophobia in the Tory party. You know, somebody that is about to be Prime Minister who has said some of the most reprehensible things about black people, about women, about gay people. You know, that's the threat to our communities, not Jeremy Corbyn, a lifelong anti-racist and peace activist.
Laura, thanks very much. That's great. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Would anybody like to talk to Can I just say something, please? This day is about the Miners' Gala, so we've spent 10% of the credit on the Miners' Gala, so we don't want to do that. Okay, yeah. Is that all right?
Fine.
Hi. You're all right. Hi.
So, the relevance of the gala, as far as you're concerned, is what?
So I am Shadow Minister for Labour, and that is a position that Jeremy Corbyn and the leadership team created that is about industrial relations, about trade union rights and freedoms. And today this is a festival of those trade union rights and freedoms, and I think that every single person that comes here today has a motivation to come here. So they're here because they want a different society, they're here because they're remembering their fathers or grandfathers that were miners, that took part in the struggle against the Thatcher government or even before that. People are here to remember, but they're also here to demand things for the future. This day, honestly, is like, I don't know if you've been here before, but it's about art, it's about music, it's about celebration, it's about letting go a bit, it's about having that freedom to celebrate all that is wonderful about working class communities.
And a lot of the people will be here wanting to hear what Jeremy Corbyn has to say, and some of them will be shaking their heads, not understanding some of the positions that he holds, not understanding how the Labour Party has got where it has on some issues. You said you can't come here without talking about anti-Semitism, and it's what everyone wants to know about the Labour Party. You were on Twitter.
No, I didn't say I can't come here to talk about anti-Semitism. I said the media will bring that agenda here.
It's because people want to know. Jeremy Corbyn has a position as leader of the Labour Party, a party which is under investigation, a party whose deputy leader has asked for information from Jenny Formby, who you then tweeted in support of, apparently criticising the deputy leader.
Because she offered that information, yeah.
So why don't you accept Tom Watson's view that everything should be public, that the response to the EHCR should be published, that he should be given information. You don't want that. Why not?
You are putting words in my mouth. You are creating a whole narrative based on one tweet.
Okay, what's your situation?
Okay, so I came out and said that Jenny Formby, who, by the way, is the General Secretary of the Labour Party, and she is undergoing chemotherapy for cancer at the moment, was receiving a torrent of abuse on Twitter. And some of it was because of the criticism that our Deputy Leader had, Tom Watson, because he said that he wanted information, he wanted to be privy to some information that Jenny Formby had actually already said, you can have this information, I will go through this information with you. Today we are here at Durham Miners Gala. I want to know who is asking about anti-Semitism, because the people out there are actually here for a day of celebration. They're here for a day of working class communities. This idea that the Labour Party doesn't care about, a really robust system to tackle anti-Semitism, of course we do. Jeremy Corbyn is a lifelong anti-racist campaigner, and before I was a Member of Parliament, I dedicated 8.5 years of my life to an anti-racism organisation. I've had thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of conversations about anti-Semitism, about anti-Muslim hatred, about anti-immigrant sentiment. And so what we should be concerned about is not just the Labour Party's processes, as important as they are, and they are incredibly important as a political party that will stand up for all oppressed groups in society, but let's look at the conditions in society that breeds racism and division, and they exist now. I am under no illusions that minority communities, including Jewish communities up and down this nation, are feeling scared of the conditions. We know that anti-Semitic attacks are up. We know that the examples of Islamophobia are up. We need to have the answers to not only internal processes, procedures to make sure that targets are affirmed, that they feel safe and valued, that there is a robust process and a fair process for the accused and the target. We absolutely have to do that, and we welcome anyone to look at our processes to say how they could be better. We are open to that. Jeremy has said that time after time after time. But we must also, as politicians and as activists who are here today, these people who are on these streets are the people who fight the fascists when they come to our towns. They stand face to face with them. They put themselves in danger, they put themselves in harm's way, and they will be cheering Jeremy Corbyn when he's on stage.
In that case, in that spirit of transparency, should the Labour Party publish its response to the investigation into anti-Semitism?
Well, I honestly don't know what you mean. The Labour Party is being open and fair and completely compliant with any questions, any information that anybody wants. We are complying with it all. I think this is all, does anybody realise the fear that this puts on Jewish communities? Does anybody realise that actually this is creating a huge amount of fear in Jewish communities, and not just Jewish communities, in all other communities that are part of a minority in this country? I want to make it clear, the Labour Party, as Jeremy Corbyn has said 100 times, is against anti-Semitism. We have put, and Jenny Formby has put, considerable amount of time and energy into pursuing really robust systems to get natural justice and justice for people, whether they are accused or whether they are the targets. We have a potential Prime Minister in Boris Johnson who has said pickaninny smiles about black people, who has said that Muslim women look like letterboxes, who has said that gay people, he said some, I can't even say it actually because it's so homophobic. This is a potential Prime Minister. Where are your questions about that?
Okay, have a great day. Thank you very much.
Can you say that was really unfair
yeah.
Because you said that you were going to talk about the
Gala.
No, you talked about the Miners Gala.
We have a shadow minister who is more than capable of answering questions.
Is there anybody who's going
to talk about the Gala?
We do.